Now, before motherboard installation on the Source 220, you will need to put standoffs in there. They have a little pattern. They have their patterns in here for ATX, Flex ATX, Mini ATX, Micro ATX, and Mini ITX boards. And they're all labeled with their different it's like A1 through A9, B1 through B9, so you just follow the little scheme here. Because I'm using a Micro ATX board, I followed the U scheme that's on here. Alright, so I currently have the Micro ATX motherboard mounted in place. Now, for installing components into the Source 220, because I am using an Intel Extreme system, I do have a self-contained water unit. What I have done is mounted the reservoir to the back, and because of the space requirements that are needed, I was able to mount one fan on the outside, the reservoir in the middle, the radiator, and then the internal fan right there. And what I did was take the existing 90mm fan, or 120mm, excuse me, and just move it right up to the top there. Now, for ODD drive installation, the mesh brackets on the front are just held in with these little tension clips on the side that pop right out. This does use the tool-free design, which you just squeeze the bottom and lift, and then you see the little insert brackets pop out, and then all you do is you just slide the drive into place so that the brackets, the holes line up with the internal holes here, and you just clip into place, and that is it. Now, the one thing I do have to kind of fault the Source 220 for is 2.5-inch drive storage. All the bays are 3.5-inch in size, and there is nowhere to put this thing. There aren't even screw brackets at the bottom, really. There are a couple of holes down here that do semi-line up with one of the halves here, but that is about it. There really is no place to mount 2.5-inch drives, and a lot of drives, SSD drives, even your generic cheaper hard drives, they're all coming in about 2.5-inch size now. So that is something I kind of do have to knock this Source 220 for. Now, for as far as video card space is going, I have a 7950 in here right now, and it looks like fits perfectly with about a couple inches to spare. If you look at the measuring tape here, it's you get about almost 13 inches of space here to stick your video card. So plenty of space for good high-end video cards, or if you want to expand further from a smaller video card. Now, using a couple of the screw holes there, it was able to line up with one side of this SSD here for the 2.5-inch drive. So although it's not supposed to be mounted that way, I was able to makeshift mount it into the case. And because this is an SSD and not a mechanical drive, I'm not worried about vibrations and movement and that sort of thing. So it is pretty good, and you can kind of rig a 2.5 in there if you really needed to. And with everything in place, this finalizes my component install for the Source 220.